How are we doing today? This is the Aden Green Peppers podcast. I am one of your awesome hosts, Mr. Patrick Hite. And with me, as always, my partner in grime, Mr.
What? Oh, God.
That was an attempt at humor.
Attempt at being the operative word. I'm Shane. My name is Shane. Like they don't know. Well, the only people listen to this like our three friends. So they don't know who I am.
I ain't got enough friends.
Yeah, after this you won't.
So anyway, so how was your commute to the studio today?
Long and boring.
Yeah, I understand.
It's an hour and a half interstate. What? This is not Mad Max.
These are the sacrifices we make for this show, though.
This is not, Fury Road. I didn't have to deal with the people on the, swinging on the poles and the gimp playing electric guitar shooting flames. Although it would have been interesting.
That would have been better.
Yeah, I would have stopped and taken a picture of that.
You better put it on your Facebook page.
Exactly.
So we'll use that as a segue to today's film.
How's that a segue?
It's not at all. That's how I roll, baby. That's how I roll.
It's called non sequitur.
I don't got a secretary.
Speaking of milk.
Pass the straw. We've derailed immediately on this one. Anyway.
You have to be on the rails to actually derail.
That's true.
You have to have rails. We don't have rails.
We have no rails.
Well, I rail, but I mean, it's a different type of rail.
It's a little different. It's different.
Can we get this over with?
We can try.
Okay.
Today's film, directed by the world-famous producer and director Larry Buchanan, which all of you out there probably are familiar with, I'm assuming. Maybe not.
Yeah, he was the downstairs neighbor on Three's Company, right?
Yeah, I think that was his other job. That was his daytime gig. I think as the silly neighbor on Three's Company. Now, the film today is actually Creature of Destruction from 1967, the made-for-TV extravaganza, which, interesting enough, is a...
I'm going to stop you there. No, it's not, but go ahead.
Some of you out there might find this interesting. It's actually a made-for-TV color remake of an older film, The She-Creature from 1956, which was directed by Edward L. Kane or Khan. I'm not exactly sure how you pronounce his name. But anyway...
The uncredited remake, mind you.
It's uncredited, that is true. In other words...
And that is stolen.
Yeah, they stole the idea.
Intellectual property theft is what that was.
That's exactly right. And Buchanan was famous for doing this. He worked for AIP. In this particular instance, it was made for TV, so it was under the AIT, American International Television guys, under his side company, Azalea Pictures. If any of that means anything to any of you guys. Does it?
No.
No, I didn't think so. But
this is what you call filler. He just wants to talk. I don't know why.
This is backstory. It's interesting. The fans love this stuff, don't you guys?
I don't know. I doubt it. Go ahead.
All right. As we were saying, Buchanan was notorious for making... he was in charge of making remakes, essentially, of older films. And he did a plethora of these things. Curse of the Swamp Creature.
Do you even know what a plethora means?
I bite a thesaurus, which is not a dictionary, which is different than both. Did you catch that? Did you follow that at all?
No.
I took it and turned it around and brought it back, and it made no sense.
No, I was just quoting Three Amigos, which is a movie we actually ought to be watching instead of this nonsense.
Three Amigos is a good film. It's a good film for what it was.
Sure.
This has more content. This is deeper. This is a deeper film. This talks about the psyche of man, if you will. The internal struggle of our pasts and things of that nature.
The internal struggle to maintain a friendship with the person who wants you to watch this crap. The internal struggle to not strangle the man who has caused me so much pain.
In love. Pain in love. For growth. For the purpose of growth. Knowledge is power.
I think I need to leave.
I'm just a bill.
You're making me uncomfortable.
I'm only a bill.
Hashtag me too.
And I'm sitting here on Capitol Hill. As we were discussing, Buchanan had...
Call the police!
Anyway, Buchanan had made several remakes. Zontar the Thing from Venus from 66, which was actually a remake of the film It Conquered the World from 56. He made a film called The Eye Creatures in 65, a remake of the famous Invasion of the Saucer Man from 1957. He also made a film called In the Year 2889, which was made in 1967. Wrap your mind around that. And it was a remake.
Wasn't that a song?
Yeah.
In the year 2989.
In the year 2889. Is that the one you're talking about?
I have no
No, I don't think that's it is something.
Sure.
But anyway, that was a remake of their film The Day the World Ended from 1955 and so forth. So he kind of got into this groove of remaking these films with little to no budget, but a lot of heart. Wouldn't you agree?
No.
The man had vision. He was a visionary. He had a lot of heart.
If he had vision, he would have used light to see what... I mean, at least light a candle. Get a flashlight. Do something. This was...
You could develop film with this.
Helen Keller would probably do a better lighting job than this guy did on 90% of this.
You're right. I mean, it was a very dark film. And not in the sense of the plot being dark. It was just shot, very dimly lit, shot film.
There's no lighting. And then the stuff that was supposed to do at night, they had those horrible filters they used to use, and then of course that blocks out everything. It's like and I probably didn't use filters. Probably put pantyhose over the lens or something like that. I mean, that's how horrible this was. To say this is grainy gives it too much credit. It was grain. It was grain. Grainy would imply 2 grains. No, it's just grain. It's one moving grain.
So it wasn't a multi-grain. It was
Pac-Man had more definition. The original Pac-Man with the 8 pixels.
Pac-Man had more definition than the film quality on this production.
Maybe Pong. Pong was about the same. Yeah.
Well, the film, as I said, was made in 67.
When was it recorded? Because obviously it wasn't recorded at the same time. At least not on the tracks.
No. I have a feeling the audio track was recorded completely on a completely different week, maybe.
I've seen Japanese films. I have seen Chinese kung fu films that are made in 1 week that had a better pairing of sound with the movement of lips than this movie.
It's abysmal.
At least on the copy that I was able to watch.
Exactly. And I'm sure it was the exact same print that I watched, where it was a good 5 seconds at least, but on some scenes it seemed that their mouths would move and then you would hear the words or vice versa. So I don't know if it was just a syncing issue with the copy I saw, or just the original print was that abysmally assembled. I don't know. Either way, the film was made for $22,000 in 1967.
And apparently that went over budget by about $21,990.
Well, half of that was for pantyhose.
Okay.
You know.
Not for the movie, for the director.
Right.
Yeah, the Ed Wood thing going on.
And the special effects were done by, and I don't know what special effects they were actually in the film, but it was by a gentleman named Jack Bennett, which you probably have never heard of. I am not familiar with the gentleman in question, but anyway, he is credited as special effects.
Uh-huh.
Maybe that's what they were getting, the pantyhose.
The creature?
The creature, maybe. I really don't know. I don't know. But I do know that they used the exact same suit in 1969's movie, the movie It's Alive, not to be confused with the giant deformed killer baby film by the exact same name. But Buchanan shot this one as well. Different plot completely.
The giant baby film, is that like the pro-abortion film?
Well,
you have a giant killer baby, we have to...
That was the original.
Is that the Planned Parenthood, real? Like, if you don't have an abortion, this is what happens?
It could be, because the thing has claws and a humongous head and fangs and actually...
Sure.
Yeah. So anyway, a much more popular film than Buchanan's version, but I digress.
Okay.
The tagline of this film is "When darkness came, strange natural desires to possession of human soul." That's the tagline. I didn't make that up. Of a human's soul. Yeah. So did you get that out of the film?
I got nothing out of this film except pain and bitterness.
Pain and bitterness and a lot of suffering.
Yeah.
Well, it was filmed on location. There's a bright side in Tanglewood Lodge, Highway 120.
They needed that kind of publicity.
Exactly. Lake.
Because they kept calling it Tanglewood Lodge. Oh, this is Tanglewood Lodge. Oh, this is Tanglewood
They promoted
Lodge.
it highly in the film. Oh. Most of the time they will change the name of a locale. They didn't in this.
They didn't in that.
Lake Texoma, Texas.
And I'm wondering if that place is still open. I'm betting no.
It's probably a tourist attraction due to this film.
No, it's not.
I could see them having a giant sign out in front.
No, they wouldn't.
Home of Creature of Destruction, maybe?
No, they would. There's nothing else. Hide their face in shame, burn the place down, and in regret, and sacrifice a goat to the gods for forgiveness.
Well, if I'm ever traveling down Highway 120 in Texas, I am actually going to check out the filming location of Tanglewood Lodge if it does, in fact, still stand. It has.
Do you even leave the apartment?
No! What do they call that? A shut-in? An invert? Or I don't know what they call it.
Agoraphobic.
I don't study science. I don't know what I'm talking about.
You stay in here like Howard Hughes and save your urine.
Because it can be filtered and drank. That's a fact. Not that I would encourage that.
But you shouldn't use it as beard oil as you're doing now.
Oh, no. But it's so soft.
Yeah, no, it's not. The beard's not soft.
It's got a shimmer.
The flies are soft. The flies are landing on your face.
Only once they perish and begin to decay do they become
okay,
soft.
I've disgusted myself now. Can we move on?
You're right, by the way. Jack Bennett was the suit creator, if you could call a wetsuit, being created. He bought that, I'm sure. And he made a mask to go with it.
Can we just talk about the mask for a minute?
The mask, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
That's the highlight of the film.
I very rarely suggest anyone have anything to do with the films we watch. I in fact, actively discourage anything like that. And in fact, would suggest that people go out and find whatever copies there are and burn them.
Cleanse the world.
Bring down the websites that these things are on with some sort of Trojan virus. Just whatever, stop it. But just for your own curiosity, Google search Creature of Destruction, and you're going to come up with this mask. And this mask, when I saw this, I immediately brought to mind was what was popularly referred to as the Tojo character from World War II. When everybody drew the Japanese that we were fighting and called them all sorts of horrific names. But the eyes, which are ping pong balls, they have slits for pupils, but the slits are not up or down or even horizontal. They are slanted. Like, a bad Japanese cartoon. And then the teeth are these huge buck teeth that stick out over the bottom lip. Like, a bad racist Japanese cartoon.
Incredibly racist, right? I'm familiar with the Tojo situation, and it was very prevalent in the old comic books and things like that, because these were the evil villains that the U.S. was fighting, and they just made them look more like monsters than humans, which is totally horrible. I don't encourage that at all, that kind of behavior. But this mask is very reminiscent of that sort of artistic depiction. I actually didn't pick up on that until my good buddy Shane here mentioned that, and now that I look at it again, wow, he's dead on. I mean, I don't know.
I just keep waiting for it to pop out. So sorry because it's still in the old cartoons.
Yeah, and this Jack Bennett who did the effects, it says he created the suit. He was a Dallas ad exec turned, I guess, self-proclaimed special effects whiz.
And World War II vet with an axe to grind.
And I suspect that's probably true, yeah.
Spent a lot of time in a Japanese concentration camp complaining that the roaches in his rice were, not sauteed like he liked. They were boiled.
Unhappy, yeah.
He's not
a happy guy.
Not good.
Sure. It's one of those films where you actually see the monster at the very, very, very beginning of the film. There's no surprise.
Well, here's the thing about the beginning of the film that it just confused the bejesus out of me. You've got a guy in a tuxedo,
right,
looking on the beach, seeing somebody in a bad suit stumbling around in creature goes and kills somebody, and I didn't know what in the world was going on. And was that the same person who ended up killing later? Was this sort of like a pre...
That was actually the end of the film. For some reason, they started the film with the end of the film to give you sort of a look at what's going to happen. So, and essentially, it was like a giant spoiler alert. The film began with the end of the film.
Okay.
So don't ask me why they assembled it in that in that fashion.
The question is was that just the copy that's been out there? Or
Probably. I mean, I don't know if that's really how the theatrical print was assembled.
Well, it's such a crappy.
Well, it's not a theatrical film, so actually it's a TV film.
It's such a crappy film that it wouldn't honestly surprise me if that's the way they wanted it.
Yeah, and I would lean more towards that theory actually, because it was made for TV, and that's probably how they slapped it together. You know, I'm guessing.
Just try to keep your interest. I have no idea.
Yeah, because I mean, it begins with the shot, like you said, of the old man, just like sort of like John Carradine from House of Dracula, where he has the top hat, the whiskers, you know, and the suit and everything. He looks like some magician kind of guy or something.
It's the old, vaudeville carryover look for the magicians, where everybody had the silk top hat, the tuxedo, and the cape slash cloak, and it was all part of the look. And very dashing, and that's fine.
Oh yeah, very nice.
I mean, he's just sort of standing there on the beach, and that's how the whole thing opens. It's just he's standing on the beach, and then the creature pops up and suddenly is chasing a person with no context.
Yeah.
Kills a person with no context. And then the movie starts. Hey!
Yeah, it's like... So if you don't really want to watch the entire film and see how these things...
And you don't!
...play out...
And, trust me, you don't.
You could literally watch the first 2 minutes of the film and see...
No, you couldn't. You can't watch the first... You endure
the
first 2 minutes of the film.
And you'll pretty much get the gist of it, I mean. But, it is what it is. It's just entertainment. It's a TV movie, so, there's no over-the-top special effects or anything.
There's nothing.
There's no under-the-top special effects.
It's a sad state of affairs when the water creature makes me pine for the days of Zat.
Yeah. That's... Yeah, because actually, that was a better suit.
That
was a suit. That wasn't just a diving. That was an actual suit. So, yeah.
But, here's an interesting thing. The parallels between Zat and this movie. They both had those weird musical interludes.
Right. I was going to mention that. Yes. Musical interludes.
Which don't need to be there.
They don't need to be there. Really it's just another gimmick.
It's just filler. It's like most of my partners, talk. It's just filler. It means nothing. Something to kill time. You just sort of try to either turn your mind off or find the fast forward button. Oh, I'm sorry. Here you are.
Oh, yeah. I'm right here. I'm here, right? Yeah.
Well, I turned you off.
I've
been successful.
What is that? Tune in, turn out, or that 6?
Oh yeah, it's your Timothy O'Leary.
Yes. That's what it is.
Turn on, tune in, drop out.
Right, that hippie jazz. Not my bag, but that's okay.
Not my bag, really.
You're
saying that hippie stuff is not your bag.
Not my bag.
You're using hippie slang to decry hippie slang. Really?
Hey, that's how I roll, man. I'm not cookie cutter. That's the way it is.
You're more like Cookie Monster. But go ahead.
With my cookie. Okay. That was
I should have just stopped.
You pushed a little too hard. That's okay.
Not yet. No, I'm waiting until you're on the edge of a cliff before I push too hard.
Since you mentioned the interludes, these musical interludes, which there are a couple, the singer of the I guess you would call it like rockabilly band is a gentleman by the name of Scotty McKay, who was a Texas rockabilly singer. AKA. Do you remember what it is?
Some Jew name.
I don't remember what it is either. And I didn't bother to write it down because I hadn't heard of the gentleman.
No, you didn't bother to hear it because he didn't do anything. He was some guy from Texas who was Jewish and it's a seriously Jewish name. And so he goes by the Bobby McKay, which is is trying to get Lipscomb. Yeah, Max Lipscomb.
There we go.
Yeah,
for all you Lipscomb fans out there.
Right. Yeah, I wonder why I had to change his name to Barry Rockabilly. No room for the Ramaka.
Exactly.
Yamaka.
Did you pick up on one of the songs he was singing? Actually,
sadly.
Here Comes Batman. Obviously, a huge fan of the TV series, and it was essentially his Batman tribute song, and it's in this film.
And on and on.
It drug on a bit long. It did.
And on. Interesting thing here, if you look at the Wikipedia, and it has who sang these songs, it has him dying in 1971.
Mm-hmm.
Which I assumed would be, he looked at his musical career and ended his own life. But no, he actually that's a mistake, and I mean I can't believe that Wikipedia would have a mistake. 91, he died in 91.
So he lived to be a ripe, old, shriveled up guy. I guess he lived a long time. Didn't he?
Sure.
Ripe he's ripe now. I suppose.
Well, not anymore.
If he died in 91, now he's not ripe anymore.
No, he's nice and dried out.
He's a shell of the man he used to be. Nothing. I'm gonna buy a laugh track and hit a.
That's your best chance.
That's probably about it. Yeah. So anyway, I'm glad you did your research on that. So he actually perished in 91 and not 71.
Yeah.
Although he was murdered in this film.
Which means we got another 20 years of obscurity.
Right. That's exactly right. Because I don't know. I didn't know who the guy was before I saw the film, and I never heard of him, otherwise. So, whatever.
Can we keep going?
We can, actually. I guess we should maybe discuss the plot a little further.
Is there a plot?
You've already talked about the beginning, which was actually the end, where the creature stalks the old man into the boathouse, kills him, blah, blah, blah. Then it cuts to the AIT, not to be confused with AIP, because that's their theatrical, Anyway, AIT logo inserted there for about 10 seconds, and then it cuts back to the little tiny title. Did you notice how small this thing was? It really small font, Creature of Destruction. So if you had I'm thinking you had a really small television back in the day, you would be hard-pressed to read the title.
Well, I mean, you just look at the TV guide.
I guess, yeah, because it would probably be larger than the print on the screen. I don't know. Maybe they couldn't afford, or maybe that was just for effect. I have no idea. But anyway, we will progress. Dr. Basso is the famed hypnotist that we are discussing. The Dapper Dan, if you will, like Shane said, with the top hat. And,
Basso. That's what I'm going to start calling you Basso.
Call me Dr. Basso, please. Dr. Basso. So we cut to Basso after the title card, the really insignificant title card. And,
what title card?
The insignificant title card, because it's so
I thought
small.
you said something else.
You thought, yeah. Why, you
Basso.
You swine. So we get to see some of Basso's act. He's got his he's a clairvoyant, a hypnotist, blah blah blah. Makes predictions, hypnotizes his I'm going to call her slave girlfriend, because essentially he keeps her in a trance throughout the entire film.
We don't know that, and then it's not really even until halfway through.
Then it's revealed.
Really know.
So that's a spoiler alert, in case you guys care.
No,
he's an old, old man. By the way, the old man. Do you know who played Dr. Basso? Did you?
What was his name?
Les Tremaine.
Yeah.
Who you might remember from your childhood. I did. As Mentor from Shazam, who drove around in the Winnebago watching over young Billy Batson. Of course, he had a huge career in films and things way before that. I think he started in radio. But yeah, Les Tremaine plays the lead villain.
And he's one of
the only villain. Well, the monster's a villain.
Well, and he's one of these people, and the classic actors. And
yes.
Where you go back to where all the leading men were 6'3", extremely slim. All had little pencil-thin mustaches, but they all have these magnificent voices.
Right.
And you listen to his
Absolutely.
voice; it's fantastic voice, and they always carry themselves with, I gotta give credit where credit is due. He has that aura about him of that, classic actor where he's always straight and has a very good, big presence about him. Has that deep, cigarette encrusted voice where it's really reverberating, and the cancer is really working on him, keeping him slim, and
our blessings, yes.
it's a double-edged sword.
Right.
Yeah. But no, I mean he's one of the classic actors, and he just
really
looks,
that is
true. You know, like the part. You know, he looks very comfortable in a tuxedo. He looks very at home on stage, and he has the great mannerisms of an actual, you know, mesmerist and hypnotist, and all these little.
Yeah, the casting in for that particular role was dead on. I mean, that was.
Well, I really can't say the casting wasn't bad at all for what this movie was.
It really was. It was more about the plot and the effects than anything else. The casting was fine because a lot of these actors had been in many other films, and then I noticed many of them had also done multiple Larry Buchanan films. I had 3 or 4 at least had appeared in other Buchanan productions, but several of these people were even acting up into the 90s and
now Neil Fletcher. I mean, do you recall anything else what he's been in?
Neil.
Yeah, he played he was the owner of the resort.
Yes.
Because he had, I didn't do any research on him, but he had a very familiar sounding voice. I don't know if he was like a voiceover guy that did a lot of work or what.
He might have been. I know he was in Zontar, Mars Needs Women in the year 2889, all Buchanan films. But I know he had done some other works as well as that. You know, like I think he had a pretty long career as an actor. One of these particular actors was a voiceover guy, and
as we check the font of all knowledge, the internet.
Hey, the magic box never lies. It is full of useful and somewhat useless information.
Sure.
Let's see here. Oh yeah, this guy worked up until 2005, apparently.
9 credits. 9 credits.
He played the gravedigger in the film Deadly Blessing from 1981. If that, you know.
Never mind. I mean, maybe he's not.
Maybe he should have been a voiceover actor.
I don't know. He had one of the voices that just sounded familiar. I didn't know if he was the guy that used to be the voiceover for movie previews.
Oh yeah.
Not the one they used in the 80s and 90s, but the one they used in the 60s and 70s.
Right, the older.
Yeah,
older
the really gritty sounding.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I could see that, though. Absolutely. I could definitely.
Well, either that or the person who did his voiceover during the re-recording was the guy who did all that.
Right, because who knows? I mean, who really knows about, you know, these kind of films? They went together fairly quickly, and, I have heard of situations where the actor had to go and do something else, so they had to bring in a voiceover guy to do the lines. So who knows, you know? And like you said, many times they don't match up to the voice action. Which can be comical, or sometimes it can just be downright annoying.
Extremely annoying.
Extremely annoying.
Exactly.
I don't know who I'm impersonating someone. I don't know who.
I think you're trying to do Morgan Freeman.
Oh, maybe that's who I was saying. Yeah, I was sort of I don't know who.
That's not Morgan Freeman.
I'm Morgan Freeman.
Fred Sanford.
Fred Sanford. That's terrible.
Okay.
I never claimed to be an impressionist, if you will.
Can we just, you don't even do a good impression of yourself. Can we just stop?
That's true. The plot. We were talking about the plot of the film. Essentially, the plot revolves around this club ran by Sam Crane and his wife. Well, Mrs. Crane. That's
Mrs. Crane?
Mrs. Crane, yes.
Mrs. Crane not home.
Played by Neil Fletcher and Annabelle Weinick.
Does she even have a line?
I think she had a few. She was sitting on a couch at one point rambling about the act, how amazing it was.
That's right. May not mean anything, but Dr. Basso predicted there's going to be blood and death and destruction everywhere. And maybe just because he called it out, we're all going to die. Yeah, that.
Yeah, and then her husband's all like, nah, it's just an act, it's all this, it's just showbiz.
Well,
baby.
I mean, what even she said was not what.
No, it wasn't. It was.
The prediction was there's going to be death or something, and then she's like expounding on it. She's like, from millions of years ago, hovering over us at this very moment, and watching our every new tail move, and we're all.
And she kind of embellished the story a little bit, or the prediction. I shouldn't say story. The prediction was embellished a bit.
Yeah.
The prognostication was indeed murder, however. That's sort of a half quote from the film. From the clairvoyant Dr. Basso. But anyway. So anyway, this old rich couple who I guess they run this resort are talking about, Basso's prediction. And
okay. Here's a question I have.
Yes,
This is one of these ridiculous little things. Later on, the Mr. Crane, who's the owner of this place.
Right.
Also the father of the prospective hero's fiance, his daughter.
Right. Yes.
But talks about, how he's always looking for money. And he said, even in my retirement, I'm looking at the front page of the newspaper every day trying to find money. Like, you're working. How is this retired? If you own and run a resort, that's not retired.
That's kind of quite the opposite of the definition of retirement when you actually are running a business, right? I don't think that's,
Just a detail.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. It's just like, what are you talking about, old dude?
All right, can we just, all right, so there's going to be some death, someone died.
Right. There was a murder in a house on the beach, down from the resort.
Yes, and our prospective hero, who's in an Air Force uniform, constantly.
He owns no other clothes, apparently.
Apparently, and I mean, I didn't realize that, when you're off base and there's never even, you just walk around in uniform with medals, with your medals.
Yeah, you're right. He's got, all decked
got the medals.
He's very proud of those medals.
No, you don't. I mean, that's like stolen valor nonsense. I mean, if this is YouTube day, someone come up and beat his butt.
Yeah, that was pretty ludicrous. That
and then this whole thing about, he's a parapsychiatrist for the Air Force.
Right. I wasn't familiar with that job, honestly.
I recall, from my conversation with my multiple military friends, how big parapsychology is in the military. Because when we're talking about the best ways to, kill, maim, and nuke countries that are aggressive toward us or we just don't like for whatever reason.
Right.
It's best to have someone who knows about psychic phenomenon. Jesus.
Just in case.
Yeah.
Dot all the I's, cross all the T's, baby.
Yeah, I just...
Yeah, the guy was on a date and he had this thing on a beach. He was walking along a beach. He's got this... They're walking around through brush. He's got this suit with all the medals on. And They hear a scream. Of course, that's when the murder has occurred. And,
Which is, showing absolutely no detail.
No.
The murder is the person in the suit flailing at the camera.
That's all. Well, that's what every murder is. You're right.
And there's no blood and there's no anything. It's just,
There really wasn't any blood in this film, was there?
No.
It was a bloodless film for a murder.
It was a bloodless coup. Thing. All smotherings.
Oh, goodness. One of the cops that was investigating the murder at the beach house, one of his quotes was, "The neck was broken in two like a pile driver hit it." Which tells us the magnitude of strength this creature is wielding.
Well, what really disturbs me is that he knows what it looks like when someone gets hit with a pile driver. He did that in experiments. I mean, this is the 1960s. He's kind of an older cop, so he grew up and was a cop in that era where, like, oh, you're a hobo, come here, whack,
Let's see what
happens if we throw you under a train.
So he was, maybe he was speaking from experience because it was a very descriptive thing to say about this murder. But and then they find a big, wet, sort of a not fish-shaped, but a webbed footprint on the rug or something, and it's very fish-like. And of course, the one cop's immediately convinced it's a monster killing everybody, and the other one
couldn't be
skeptic.
Number one, there's only one footprint. Now, the monster went through the entire freaking place.
It was hopping on one leg.
But hopped in on the one leg and stood in one place and killed everybody, apparently, and hopped out backwards. Because it's the perfect... And it couldn't be, I don't know, scuba gear. Let's just say there was a whole lot of them.
Yes.
I got the big flipper thing. It couldn't be someone in scuba gear. It has to be a monster.
It must be a monster.
I keep my mind open to all possibilities. I'm a scientist. I keep my mind open. No, as a scientist, you're skeptical. You look at everything like, no, until it's proven it doesn't exist.
Right.
my mind open. Really?
It was a hopping catfish, actually, is what...
Zat. It was Zat.
It was Zat made an appearance.
This guy was framed.
He was.
The creature was framed.
The whole movie's a sham. Now that you figured it out.
Oh, that's something. A sham, like our friendship. What? Go ahead.
So after this amazing murder investigation scene, where you cut back to Dr. Basso, who is talking to his assistant slash forced girlfriend that apparently he found in some gutter somewhere, and she was nothing, and he made her something all through the power of hypnosis, I'm thinking.
I'm going to say this. Girls that look like that, not in the gutter. Maybe on the pole, but not in the gutter.
Yeah, I think he really just went into her mansion and kidnapped her and brainwashed her. And that was it. I don't think there was any gutter involved.
No.
Yeah.
And here's the interesting thing. So, he's in this room, and it looks like a literal dungeon.
Yeah.
Brick walls. There's she's sitting on a throne. A throne. Which, mind you, same throne she's sitting on stage during her shows. And we'll get into the shows. What the hell
she sits a lot in this film. Did you notice that?
I mean,
much of this film, she's literally sitting in her throne, like you said.
Yeah.
In a state of...
Right. But she's sitting in a throne, which is, also apparently the same throne she sits on in the shows, which we'll get into in a while.
It must have wheels on the bottom.
But and it's lit by candlelight. But this is supposed to be in one of the cabins at the resort. Now, do you go and say, I want the Marquis de Sade special? Do you have something with a Spanish Inquisition feel to it?
Yeah.
Do you have something? I'm really into S&M. I want to keep someone in a dungeon and just lit, no electric light. I just candles. You got candles? A lot of candles on the wall. Candle holders on the wall like a dungeon. You got that on this little resort in Texas-Oklahoma border?
Right. It was definitely not what you would expect from a resort. I don't know.
Maybe 50 Shades Darker resort. I'm not sure. But
perhaps, yes. I don't know. Maybe this guy just brings all of his home decor with him when he travels. I don't know.
Sure. Yeah, brick wall included.
Right.
This is too nice. Get the big suitcase and put brick wall up.
That's right. It's just one of those printed stickers that just sticks to the wall.
I need something more of a dungeony feel to be comfortable.
It's one of those fathead stickers. That's what it is. You just roll it out. And when he's done, he peels it off, rolls it up.
Sure.
Puts it in a long cardboard tube, and takes it to the next resort. Kind of like on that... Brady Bunch episode where they go to the amusement park and
no, I have no idea.
And the dad loses his plans.
I have no idea.
It's a Yogi Bear poster.
No idea.
Oh, you got to see that episode. It's fantastic.
No.
Brady Bunch.
No.
Amusement park.
No.
Yeah, it's awesome.
No.
Anyway, right up there with the Grand Canyon one, or the Vincent Price one in Hawaii where he kidnaps the kids and holds them in a cave. And no, nothing. Nope. Okay. He's blocked all that trauma out from when he was.
I think I know at some point I watched Brady Bunch as a child. I have replaced it with more important things like white noise.
And Creature of Destruction.
No, that's been pretty much just replaced by white noise too.
White noise.
Just the blank.
That sounds
blank static. Just nothing. Just the void. I just pray for the angel of death to take me away.
Sweet escape.
Let it be. Let this be done.
Sweet escape.
I don't want to be here anymore.
A box full of maraschino cherries and some white noise. Now, you don't like fruit. What am I talking about? Or chocolate. You don't like chocolate.
No, I don't even know.
Wash it down with some chocolate milk.
I have no idea. When does it hurting to stop? That's what I want to know.
It's almost over. No, not exactly.
Well, let's talk. Okay. So she's sitting in the chair.
Yes,
and he's
comfortably.
Stiffly. And he's hypnotizing her and doing all this stuff. And when I touch you, you'll wake up. Okay. Here's the thing. This whole mesmerism, hypnotism stuff, the act. And I get it. This is the days before cable TV. This is the days before VCR. This is the days... Slightly after, just you're looking at a fire and throwing random creatures in it to see if they burn. I understand the entertainment is a low bar.
Yeah.
But this act is merely him talking to an assistant.
Right.
Now, not someone from the audience. That would have been like, let's bring you back through your past.
That'd be more impressive, right? A random person.
Or let's take you through this, or make you do little tricks, or make you cluck like a chick. No, it's an assistant. What are the odds that a person in the entertainment business may have just had an assistant with a predetermined, what they say, or a script that could have just been like,
That's exactly
here's what you're going to say. I'm going to wave my hand. You're going to say this, and it's just a bunch of crap. I mean, there's no act to it. And even, let's just say, for the sake of just really bad argument, that is the act, okay? There isn't. It lasts like 38 seconds.
Right, it's pretty quick.
I'm going to wave my hand in front of you, talk a little bit, and then just say something, and then that's the act. Now, I know they paid a good $2.99 for the steak dinner.
Exactly.
And entertainment.
$1
you
in
know?
Texas.
And so, other than getting lung cancer and the constant smoking, they're really not getting a whole lot for their money.
That is true. It's really, the act itself was very, just like you said, predictable, easily concocted, easily faked, because I thought the same thing. Go from town to town, have the same script, you've got it all memorized. Because, I mean, these people were like, but I don't think she could fake it. Did you see her mannerisms and this and blah, blah, the accent change? Come on.
At least have her planted in the audience. Where you pull up the random member of the audience and pull her up, and then she starts spewing all the bile crap. And, no. My assistant that she brings out, who's already seated on her little chair.
Yeah, staring straight ahead like a zombie.
Yeah, buddy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I can see why the guy wanted to take him under his wing and make a big, huge act out of his...
he's David Copperfield, years ahead of his time.
Right. It was just short, and I was going to say short and sweet, not short and sweet. It was short and highly predictable. I mean, it was just not impressive.
No.
And he would predict a murder pretty much at every show, right? Or almost. I mean, there were a few shows. He only did a couple shows.
There's only 3 shows there.
Yeah.
And he, said there's going to be murder the first night, and then last night he just said everybody just needs to go home. Right,
because he was having trouble hypnotizing his assistant because of the military guy with all the medals had gotten her head a little bit.
Yeah. Okay, okay. Let me just get into that for a second. So you have the hero who is engaged to the owner of the resort's daughter, which is why he's at these shows every night, because it's at the resort. And when the girl comes in, he almost jumps up and humps her on the stage in front of his fiancée. I've missed out. She's gorgeous. His fiancée is sitting next to him.
Yeah, this guy was a jerk.
And then I thought just follows her off the stage and just leaves his fiancée standing there and becomes obsessed with this person and is following her around and keeps talking about her and talking to her and never has a thing to do with his fiancée. Now, meanwhile, his father-in-law has, smelling the money.
Of course, because he's an old moneybags type.
As first off said 50-50 for the mesmerist, Dr. Basso, and then, is going to make millions out of this and give it to his son-in-law and his daughter as a nest egg, which is shunned. Dude, you do not turn down money. You do not turn down money.
No, but he did. You're an
idiot.
He stood by his character.
He had no character. He was an idiot.
But he had a lot of medals.
You don't turn down money. So this guy, obviously, in a weird way, cares for the war hero parapsychologist that everyone apparently knows.
Right.
Because that's how they introduce him. But this guy is treating the war hero is treating his fiancée like just so much cooled off dog poop. I mean, it's just really...
Yeah, because once she enters the picture, the assistant, you hardly ever see the fiance or girlfriend, whatever
she just stands. She stands there. She's there.
She's there as a prop almost. I mean, he doesn't interact
and
with her
shooting him a look every once in a while.
Yeah, which I would think she would be, since he was becoming a total jerk throughout the film, ignoring her and
ignoring her, ignoring the money.
Yeah, just not cool, man. Even though he was the hero, that's not.
But he didn't do anything heroic.
No, he really didn't do anything. Did he?
He talked to the assistant, whose name was Dorina.
Yeah.
And talks to her, and then convinces her to sort of resist the hypnotism. And Dorina's always like, "Basso, let me go. Just let me go."
That's exactly how she sounded too.
Well,
it is for real. I mean, that's pretty much the dialogue. I mean,
yeah, and so you have that, and then just, I guess sort of the ultimate part of it, or the last of it, it's like, you need to resist him, and I'll help you. I'll be in your thoughts too. So apparently, parapsychology teaches you psychic ability to invade someone else's thoughts.
That's what I was kind of thinking.
This must be a DARPA program from the Air Force. This is Alex Jones level nonsense. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, it didn't really make any sense at all.
No.
It was all pretty ludicrous.
Like a dead bum when it's not entertaining anybody, with his cup out and it's not making any sense. I have no idea where I'm going with that.
That was awesome. Yeah, we'll move forward now.
Mel Brooks from Life Stinks when he's on the...
Life Stinks. I had forgotten about that.
Where he's on the street.
Very fun.
Hot two, shilly bing bamboo, hot two. And no one's giving me money. No sense. Making no sense.
That is a funny...
hot two!
That's a funny bit from that film. Look it up on YouTube. I'm sure it's available. We're getting no money from Mel Brooks.
Hot two!
Yeah. Is he even alive anymore?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm sure he is. I can't keep track. People are dropping like flies in Hollywood.
He's literally the 1,000-year-old man now.
He hasn't been accused of messing with anyone, has he?
No.
Okay,
he's literally the
like
1,000-year-old man now.
It was inevitable, right? It was inevitable. What were we talking about? Oh, yeah, Creature of Distraction.
Anything but this movie.
One of my favorite quotes, another quote from the film.
There's a quote? How's there quotes? There wasn't dialogue.
This I found amusing when Basso predicted another murder, and he says, this is a direct quote from the film, "She will come out of the lake again, and she must kill." Why? Why must she kill? She's an animal, essentially, a prehistoric humanoid animal.
Sure,
fish
I guess
thing.
if they ate it,
if it was for survival purposes, but just to hunt people and just smash their necks and just leave them there to rot.
And if you read anything about this movie, it talks about how the whole reason that all right, massive spoiler. It turns out this creature is like this woman's soul transmigrated through time and showing up and from her first incarnation as a creature.
Very eloquently put, by the way. That's very.
So that's what the whole thing is. It shows up, and when she's under hypnotic trance, her soul turns into a physical creature from the past, millions of years ago, and is killing things. Okay, but if you look at anything on this film, it talks about the reason the creature kills is because Dr. Basso hates the world. Now, it doesn't say anything about that in this freaking movie, except toward the end, where the guy goes, "He doesn't like the world. I think he'd put a match to it if he could." Well, I'd put a match to the world. It doesn't burn.
And I think that's only because his plans didn't exactly play out the way that he had hoped.
If you take a match and you hold it down to the world,
probably not going to burn.
Not a lot happens.
Nah, it's probably just going to go out, really.
Yeah, at most, if you're putting in something like hay or something, the hay will burn, but the world doesn't burn.
But eventually, it's going to go out, and the world's still going to stay the world,
that's what happens.
So, yeah, you're right. A lot of these online synopses are pretty inaccurate because he really gave no reason for anybody to even put that online, that he hated the world, because he seemed pretty happy to me. He had this slave chick that he, bossed around and did whatever he wanted, which I don't condone that kind of behavior.
Well, if you're that old and have a woman look that good under your power, you're going to be happy.
So why did he want to burn the world? See, I don't know.
Because Viagra hadn't been invented yet.
He was frustrated, so perhaps, now we're getting somewhere.
There you go. This is how things get online.
This is,
Yeah, sure, why not?
Yeah. We just have to reason through it. Now it makes sense. Because he was considerably older than his woman.
Sure.
Yeah. It was one of those daddy thing. I don't know. Anyway. Shh.
This is like the 28th time you've done that here. There's no reason.
I am gonna
you didn't even make a joke then. You said anyway. That's not even a punchline. The ba-dum-dum Some things should be reserved for like bad jokes or bad puns or something. That was just anyway. That was a segue.
You're right. I need to invest in a drum set to set up over here. Then I can actually like a little rim shot.
You need to learn when it's appropriate first. You're like Joey from Friends on this air quotes. He doesn't know how those work either.
What are air quotes? Anyway, back to the film. Blah, blah.
Air quotes are what this movie is.
This movie is a giant air quote. Or a rim shot, maybe. I don't know.
So we can get into some really dirty stuff there with the guy.
But we won't, because this is a family. This is a family show.
Go ahead.
So make sure your families listen to the Peyton Green Peppers podcast every episode. Please.
No, don't. Please. No, don't. I know we're trying to monetize this, but it's not worth it.
Right.
My stuff. I want this to fail, so he'll eventually stop asking me to do it.
It'll save.
But he hates me, so he'll continue to.
That's right. But I hate him out of love. It's a very weird situation.
Yeah, it's the same guy. Never mind.
So anyway, Basso predicts another murder.
That's it. Oh my God. You are Basso and I'm Dorina. I'm under your power. I cannot escape you.
That's true. You're going to sit in that chair for the next 40 years.
My only escape is going to be death.
You're going to put a match to the world when I'm done with you, buddy.
Oh, God.
Or maybe that's my job. But anyway. The musical guy we talked about earlier.
I was so glad we could keep derailing because it's
right.
much better than the movie.
Oh, this guy, this is after another murder prediction, by the way. Sitting on the beach, all these kids just sitting there.
No, wait.
Whips out a guitar, remember?
No.
Actually, he rides up on a motorcycle.
Everyone just shows up. All these kids just show up.
Just out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere, and they have a bucket. And they put the bucket down in the sand and then sit around a semicircle. Nothing's on the bucket.
Nah.
And then this guy rides up on a motorcycle, an old Triumph.
I was going to ask you what kind of bike that was, because I didn't pay enough attention, honestly.
And so he rides up on the motorcycle. Okay. And just because I am this weird thing, that's not the way a Triumph engine sounds. That was a Harley Foley effect to the big throbbing, rumbling engine.
So that was stock audio, most likely.
That was an audio effect called a Foley for the motorcycle. Okay. That is not the way a Triumph sounds, particularly a 1960s era Triumph. Those had a much higher droning sound, not anything like that. Rumbling, throbbing Harley sound that was on that. So he shows up on a motorcycle and then pulls guitar out of nowhere, like Highlander with a sword.
Yeah, I don't know where that thing came from.
And then sits down and sings another bad song.
Yeah, and
then gets up.
The kids start dancing too, remember? They love this guy. Apparently he's the idol of the beach.
I fast-forwarded through it. I'm like, okay, sing him. I can't take it. After dealing with Batman, I did not need to hear the sequel of Green Hornet, whatever the hell.
Whatever his other song was.
Scrub, get questions. So he gets back on the bike.
Guitar disappears.
Disappears. Again, like Highlander.
Right.
And then the bike stops for no reason. Then
I think is it supposed to be stuck in the sand? Because I wasn't quite sure.
Well, no, because it stopped.
Yeah.
Because you see him trying to
kickstart it again. Right.
And then suddenly it's stuck in the sand. Now,
it was not running. I don't know how that happened.
It's stuck in the sand, and he can't seem to get it out of the sand. Here's the thing: it's sand, not mud.
Right.
And it's a Triumph, a very small motorcycle, easily pushed. No reason he couldn't have gotten that out, even by its own power, and it wasn't actually going to be stuck in the sand like that. That's just not the way things work. And then as he's sitting there, he watches this creature come up to him, but not doing anything. Like, I don't know, getting away.
Yeah. He stands there on the bike.
And just looks
just lets this thing kill him.
Maybe it was his own realization. This is the kind of music I'm putting in the world. I deserve this.
Yeah.
This is karma come to get me.
He was doing the kids a favor. Really.
Maybe he was just waiting for Batman to show up.
Maybe he was. He was such a huge fan.
Yeah.
You know, one of the other things I have a problem with, not just this film, but anytime you're dealing with sort of a humanoid fish creature, these things, once they get on land, they can swim fast, but once they get on land, they don't walk so good. They kind of stumble and blah, blah, blah.
Mostly because they just can't see where they're walking.
Well, that's true, but I mean, even say this thing was real. They've got these webbed giant feet, flop, flop.
Yeah.
It would be so easy to outrun one of these creatures, yet these people never do.
Right. Well, and they're always, people they kill are always in good shape. They actually should have some cardio. It's not like they're dealing with the, big, fat, flabby people that can't move 15 feet.
Exactly.
You know.
It wasn't like Dom DeLuise was there, laying on the beach, and, just kill me. I can't do anything.
Yeah, that's what they
It wasn't like that.
That's what they need to do. On the next episode of My 600-Pound Life, they need to have a sea creature come in and chase these fatties around their living room a while.
Oh, that is so wrong.
They just lose some weight.
Boom, boom.
No, that's not a joke. That's what's a joke.
I hope that's a joke. That was horrible.
No. I'm looking out for their best interest.
Oh.
Because they'll either lose weight by trying to flop away from the sea creature, or they'll lose weight by defecating the 68 pounds of
having their
unprocessed meat.
Or have their necks smashed like a pile driver.
They'll expel the 68 pounds of unprocessed red meat that's trapped in their colon. That's a good start.
Nausea is ensuing. I'm sorry.
I'm just saying. Just imagining
room spinning. I don't know.
These people trying to get up the couch.
Is your name Larry Buchanan by chance? Junior? What's going on here?
I have an idea for a film, and you owe me.
Oh my. Oh my.
I know where we can get a fat suit or a fat guy.
Goodness.
I don't know.
I don't know either one. I don't know. I have no idea.
It's 600-pound life plus sea creature.
Oh, butch.
Stop it! I'm going to stab you in the heart with a fork. So, okay.
So the guy on the bike's murdered.
Yeah.
Because he didn't bother to run away from his triumph. And
And
his fan base show up at the top of this
because apparently they were just lingering over the top of the
hill.
hill.
Beach bum kids. They have nothing to do, They find his body, and next thing you know, which I didn't. Did this actually happen in the film, or did I miss it? There's an artist sketch of the creature.
Yes. Now the next thing was the dialogue, and I use that term loosely, was that one of the kids caught a glimpse of the creature. No, it was gone by the time these people got over the
So it wasn't
rise.
just me. I thought as much.
I caught a glimpse of the creature, and it was a very detailed sketch.
Oh, it looked like they took a photograph. This kid saw this, told a sketch artist, and that's what he came up with?
Sure, complete toe-joed and everything. Mind you, it is pitch black. It is Ray Charles level lighting out there.
Yeah, it is.
And he's going to see this, and I have the 7 teeth, and the slanty eyes, and the big flappy gill ears, and
even a hand.
Yeah.
I was like, what? Okay, okay.
And what is it in the police sketch? Police sketches are always horrible.
Yeah.
This was at an angle. Police sketches are always face front. This was at an angle.
Yeah, this thing was perfect. I mean, it was...
Yeah, for what it was.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, for what it was.
And then they want the cops would think that Basso has something to do with it. They keep...
Yeah, because these brilliant cops... Well, gee, he keeps presenting the idea that there could be a murder tonight, and then there's a murder. Well, maybe he has something to do with it, huh? Gee, I don't know.
No, we have to keep an open mind.
It could be anybody, right? He's the only one with any knowledge of these things happening. But
well, I mean, here's the thing, though. It's he's always predicting this,
right?
But neither he nor his physical assistant, who's still they're physically present elsewhere,
right?
In the presence of witnesses.
That's true.
You would think that would pretty much eliminate them as a suspect right off the bat.
They have all kinds of alibis, right? A club full of people.
And so you have... Here's an interesting thought about this.
Sure.
You have the cop who does not believe in the psychic phenomena of prediction and stuff, yet is the first person to say, that's a monster.
Right.
I believe a monster is not a psychic phenomena. It's just too far to go. Bigfoot, yes. Mentalism, no. I can't do that.
Right. Exactly.
Based on the same level of evidence. A footprint. Well,
A sloppy, wet footprint, which could have been faked by somebody that knew what they were doing.
Could have been... Was there even a picture of it? Or did it just say, look, there's a wet footprint?
I think they sort of showed it like some water on the floor. It didn't look like anything to me. It looked like somebody just spilled some water on the floor. I don't know.
And again, one footprint.
Yeah.
And after the creature had walked like 4 miles out of the lake.
Right, and up a hill and into this
Yeah.
apartment and or building or house.
Sweaty. It was sweaty. It was a sweaty foot.
Yeah, probably. Maybe that's what it was.
Yeah.
He was wearing socks and they were sweaty. And
Why not?
It was a sock print, perhaps.
And this is another thing. At some point, one of the other people he had killed had seaweed. That says the seaweed was found. This is at the resort that is on the Oklahoma-Texas border.
Ah.
I don't remember there being the freaking ocean there for seaweed. Pondweed.
Yeah.
Water plants.
Tonska.
Something. Sure. Seaweed.
Probably
No.
not seaweed.
I don't remember the... Oh, well, actually, no. I remember when I went out west, driving by the large kelp farms of Oklahoma. Just miles and miles of giant kelp reaching to the sky. In the suspended saltwater tanks that lined the road.
There you go. That makes sense then. You just explained it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Can we skip?
Yeah, let's fast forward. Okay. So Dr. Ted interviews the assistant, blah, blah, blah. That's really boring. Later we see Bass, and he's watching over this...
Basso?
Dr. Basso, rather. Yes, that is correct. And he's actually watching from afar as the monster slaughters a young couple in a convertible. But this is what I got to say. They sort of had it coming because the police had these signs everywhere, beach closed. But these rebellious teens ignored that, drove their convertible onto the beach anyway. I'm assuming to make out. And
well, obviously to make out because they started to make out.
Yeah.
And then they jumped up and ran off. And again, you're in a car. You see a creature lumbering towards you. Turn the car on and put your foot on what's called the gas pedal.
Exactly. Drive away.
And you can probably have a better chance than, flopping out and sort of walking 5 feet than stopping to face the creature. I mean, good God, at least have the sense if it was like a bear. Climb a tree! Do something!
Yeah. Yeah, something they've never seen in their life, this horrific fish creature, and they're just going to run a few feet and look at it and just take their beating.
Sure.
Once again, it makes no sense, but hey, it's a film, right? You know what?
It's something.
Yeah. So anyway, the kids kind of asked for that in that situation. They should not have ignored the law.
At this point, now the...
Listen to you kids.
Theodore Dell, the hero, has now become enamored with Dorina and, is telling her... He's interviewing her again, and then, now she's out from underneath the spell of the Dr. Basso, and she's more open as to what's going on, and she doesn't quite understand what's going on. And that's when he tells her that, he's going to be there to keep her from being under his spell. And they're going to go away together. You're an engaged human being, you son of a...
Yeah, I know. That keeps... Yeah. That bothered me throughout most of the film, actually. His behavior was not okay.
No.
Not okay.
So
anyway, we've got more scenes of Basso performing, blah, blah, blah.
it's that exciting, too.
No, really, it kind of is.
Then she, at the last performance, she was under the control, but then the other guy kind of dehypnotized her, and she resisted him.
Yeah.
And that's when Basso told everyone to leave, and then the cop gets up and says, "Do what he says! We've got cops everywhere." Why? Why would you... Oh, okay. But if she's resisting the hypnotism, if she is able to resist being put under, how then is she manifesting the creature?
I don't know, and yeah, I found that
because
interesting
then she's still in the trance,
right?
But she wasn't in a trance because she resisted because she kept staring at the guy who's sitting next to his fiance,
right? Using his whatever he was using,
paranormal psychology hoop-de-doo. Again, if you didn't catch that, that's paranormal psychology hoop-de-doo.
I'm glad you repeated that.
Dear God, do we have to do it again?
I thought you were making a joke. Anyway.
You in the heart.
Right.
No, you
gotta find it first, buddy.
Yeah. I have a servant's heart.
Oh.
I keep it in a jar on the mantle as an example of the servants.
Floating in formaldehyde or something. All right. So where were we with the plot? Okay.
We were at the end.
The end,
where the last show where she resisted.
Right. That's right. And
then they manifested the creature.
Right.
And then everybody left.
Everyone left, yes, as they had been warned to.
And then the retired / still working owner of the resort does what any normal human being would do when he doesn't know if anything's actually going to happen, and there's only been the word of a guy who he thinks is a fraud.
Right, he does.
But he's just going to go out with a .32 revolver. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's some dirty, hairy stuff right there.
And why is he in the boathouse? Or even near the boathouse? Shouldn't he be going home to safety?
Well,
he was warned
I assume he lived at the resort.
Well, I guess he did, but yeah, I guess.
Well, why was he searching the resort?
Well, that was
something.
kind of
He gets a .32 out and walks around in the dark in his tuxedo, looking for something he doesn't know what's there.
Right, that he probably really doesn't even believe exists.
Ends up in a boathouse, and the creature. And again, this is what's on the print that we watched.
Right,
was I'm assuming interspliced with what was the first part of this movie.
Right.
This is the end, which was also the beginning.
Right. Wrap your head around that one, folks.
Yeah, some Doctor Who stuff right there. And so the creature's there and chases him. He shoots the creature and doesn't face it.
Yeah, it's bulletproof apparently, or just
apparently.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, 30. It's a 38. I mean, really.
Yeah. So yeah, it makes sense.
Doesn't mean a whole lot. I mean, ballistically, 38 pistol. I mean, that's the practice run for a 357. That's really what you. Listen.
That's what he should have had.
Well,
that's poor planning on his part.
A lot of poor planning. So he ends up in a boat in the boathouse trying to start it instead of just, I don't know, continuing to run.
Right.
And the creature walks up behind him and apparently he dies. Okay.
Yeah.
Then
murdered once again by the evil.
Then the cops
creature.
are outside and they see something come out of the water. And the main cop, who's been believing it's a monster but doesn't believe in psychic phenomena, there he is. Kill it.
Yeah.
Now, what if this was a prank?
Right.
What if some guy was... I mean, this is dark, and they're far away.
Right.
And they're shooting at it with a shotgun. And mind you, again, ballistically speaking, that creature's like 9 times further than the reach of a shotgun. And they're shooting it, and it's reacting to being shot, but it's not dying. It's just continuing to. Meanwhile, well, how did I start? Oh, I'm trying to wrap this crap up. That's why.
Right.
Meanwhile, the Lieutenant Dan or whatever was it? Dell, yeah.
Yeah, that was
Captain Dell.
Captain Dell.
He hears the gunshots, then grabs the completely tranced Dorina and starts walking off with her. Basso shows up as a total basso and he's got a gun, which, to my estimation, looked to be a .25 caliber pistol. Mind you, the .25 caliber pistol has all of the firepower of the average BB gun.
Wow.
Oh,
virtually useless.
I have got a .25 caliber pistol. Mm-hmm. I would do more damage to a human being if I threw it at the person left-handed and be more accurate with the shot.
Wow.
Oh my gosh, those things are horrible. I mean, you never. No one buys a .25 caliber pistol. But they end up being stolen, and every felon has a .25 caliber. I don't know. It's the felony model. I don't know.
Apparently so.
So he's gonna shoot Lieutenant Dan, Captain Dell, whatever his name is.
It's all good. It all works.
Sure.
Yeah.
He's gonna shoot the Air Force psycho phenomena hero.
Right, because he is...
You ruined everything for me. You took her away. Our spurs were won.
Right. Yeah.
No, you're
really
like a completely abusive person who literally manipulated and controlled a woman. You weren't together.
Yeah.
And so he's going to shoot the Air Force guy. Then the girl wakes up at the very last minute and jumps in front of the Air Force guy. Now... Here's the thing about the editing, and I use that term again loosely. But they show that Basso has the gun. Mm-hmm. They show the woman wake up.
Yep.
Dorina jumps in front of Lieutenant Dan.
Right.
I was just calling him that from now on.
Because she has feelings for him at this point,
sure.
I think.
Well, yeah, I remember she was going to run off with him.
Right.
She's going to leave Basso.
He is her savior, if you will.
Right. The engaged man, and she's going to run off with him.
Right.
Wow.
Not a good message, but anyway.
I don't remember seeing a ring on that woman's finger. Maybe that wasn't such a good engagement.
Maybe. He had put a ring on it.
Right. If he liked it, he should have put a ring on it.
That's right.
Yeah.
No, that was a joke. Okay.
No, it wasn't a joke.
I'm doing you a favor, my friend.
No, you're not.
Building you up.
No, you're not doing anything. So
comedy goes.
But then there's a distinct time differential. There's a pause. There's a beat. And then there's the showing of the 25 caliber gun.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Which you see it pull the trigger. Now this isn't something he was going to pull the trigger and she jumped up at just as he pulled the trigger. She jumped up, then he pulled the trigger. This is not something he could not have stopped. It wasn't an action in motion.
Right.
This was, she jumped in front. I'll go ahead and shoot. Bang! Shoots her in the back. Again, no blood.
Right. They couldn't afford blood.
Right on the couch, and again, 25 caliber. A person can take a 25 caliber shot to the dome and survive, but she gets shot in the back, with a bullet that more than likely bounced off of her, and she died immediately, instantly,
instant death,
and so she's dead. The creature, which has been reacting to being shot but not died, suddenly throws like it's been shot in the back, and throws itself down and disappears.
Vanishes, just gone.
Then Basso gets down and we'll be together soon, my love, and kisses her gently on the forehead. Again, this is as much physical contact as I've ever shown.
Right,
the slight touch on the wrist to wake her up.
This is true.
And then you hear gun, and you see gun drop, and then he's still kneeling there. The assumption that he committed suicide.
Right, to be with his slave girlfriend.
Right.
In the afterlife.
And again,
whatever.
25 caliber pistol.
I don't know.
Better chance of actually killing yourself if you swallowed it and choked on it. It's that small. You probably could try.
Yeah. And that was Creature of Destruction. Oh, and it ends
with the same stupid quote.
With the
same stupid quote that was at the beginning.
That's true. There's no monster in the world as treacherous as man. Dun dun dun.
Sure.
Yeah, those things. But anyway, so overall, how would you rate Creature of Destruction from 1967?
Well, better than Blood Freak.
Yeah.
Better than Blood Freak. Didn't quite have the heart and warmth of Zat.
I agree. I like Zat better.
Overall, it's I probably don't break one of your fingers for this one.
All right, well, that's a plus. That leaves 9.
Yes, well.
So, awesome.
Well, you get your broken fingers for this, and I'll get my green pepper. You understand that the microphone's not good enough to catch that was tiny little crack.
If only I had a carrot stick. You guys don't know what I'm talking
about. He tried to crack his fingers so you'd hear about it.
It's all done. It's done. Anyway.
Let's just go, crack, oh my finger.
Crack, oh my finger.
All right, Sulu.
All right.
Here's your green pepper. I'm going home.
This has been the Paid Green Peppers podcast. I am, as always, Patrick Hite.
I am, as in always, Shane Aden, and also, apparently, the Dorina to your Dr. Basso. Good night, folks.